welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new to me, my name is Sara Kelly. I'm an ADHD mindset coach and I come out with content every week about everything ADHD and the isms that pair with having ADHD. Today I want to talk about ADHD diagnosis. Now, with late diagnosis, specifically in women, because that is my main audience, two things can happen. Number one is we are lucky enough to be formally diagnosed. Places like Canada, certain areas of the US, diagnosis usually is attainable. In a place like the UK, diagnosis can take years. NHS in the UK has very long wait lists, and a lot of people in that region do opt to get private diagnosis, which can be really costly. In today's video, I really want to give you some tips and tricks that I wish I knew when I got diagnosed with ADHD just 4 years ago. Tip number one, when you believe you have ADHD or you've been formally diagnosed with ADHD, is to really learn as much as you can about ADHD. I am going to link some books in the description of this video, as well Attitude magazine, which is an online publication. They have a free Attitude as well as a subscription-based Attitude. Absolutely gave me so much information about ADHD. Their search engine on the website is very user-friendly. You can search things like ADHD and dopamine, ADHD, anxiety and depression, ADHD in women, or ADHD in children, and there are a plethora of articles that come up that will teach you about your ADHD brain. By learning about ADHD, this neurological condition, yourself, you empower yourself. It can be very cathartic to start connecting the dots as to why you are the way you are in certain aspects of your life, the challenges that you have that the neurotypical people around you don't have. Connecting those dots is validating. It can make us feel like we are not so alone, and knowledge is power. So learning about ADHD is the first thing that I recommend anybody who is newly diagnosed or just starting to lean into the fact that they do have ADHD and wanting to understand this condition more. The second tip that I recommend once you start leaning into your ADHD brain or discovering that you have it is, once you've learned about ADHD, teach your loved ones about it. Teach your friends and family about this condition. The bonus to doing this is, once you are teaching someone else about ADHD, you're actually learning it at a deeper level. A lot of people with ADHD struggle with working memory. That is part of our executive dysfunction. So it's really normal to read through a page, and because of our distractibility and our poor memory, we might not really remember what we've read. Reading something out loud or teaching it to another person helps you ingrain that knowledge on a deeper level so that it can go from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. It also gives others around you an opportunity to learn about you on a deeper level, so that any of the negative isms of having ADHD, like time blindness or the thought that ADHD people are lazy, can be debunked and understood at a deeper level. My third tip is to give yourself grace for any shortcomings in the past that have manifested for you because of your ADHD. You know, there's a really fine line, in my opinion, between giving yourself grace, not beating yourself up, and going into this negative feedback loop of, you know, thinking poorly of yourself or thinking that you're constantly coming up short, and using ADHD as an excuse. Yes, this is a disability, and it can be really hard to live with, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to still be exceptional, but exceptional to a neurodivergent and ADHD fashion. Comparing ourselves to neurotypicals is the quickest way for us to struggle more so with our self-esteem and to really not have that self-confidence to be able to get up and thrive and go after the goals that we're passionate about. Now, before I get into tip number 4, if you are a woman late diagnosed with ADHD, or you just believe you have it and you struggle with your self-worth and your self-esteem, which is totally understandable. The average child with ADHD, whether they're diagnosed or not, will hear 20,000 pieces of negative feedback next to a neurotypical child during their adolescence. I do happen to have a complimentary masterclass pinned in the description of this video that goes over the 5 pillars to creating lasting change. If you struggle with your self-esteem, sense of self, or self-worth. So please check that out after this video is done. I truly believe that ADHD is a twofold issue. We have, on the one hand, the neurological aspect of having ADHD. Many ADHD people have a more underdeveloped prefrontal cortex. That is where we house our executive functions as well. We don't get the same reserve of dopamine as neurotypical people get. Now that I am an ADHD coach, the holy grail that I live and die by is that I'm going to strive for progress over perfection. I am very motivated to succeed, to learn, to do better than what I've known previously. But I also give myself the grace to fall, to mess up, to be late from time to time. I don't hold myself to a neurotypical standard. Now, that's very different from not holding myself to any standard. I just know that I don't fit into the status quo, so I don't try to anymore. That's been so helpful for me and my self-esteem. Now, tip number 4 is to find support with either coaching or neurodivergent affirming counseling. And when I would say coaching too, I would also make sure that it's neurodivergent affirming coaching, because neurotypical coaching really has this try harder rhetoric, this hustle culture that really can make us ADHDers turtle and go into sheer overwhelm. So coaching and or counseling really help you learn how to thrive in an ADHD friendly way. And of course, I'm going to give myself a small little plug here. If you are looking for an ADHD mindset coach, check out my masterclass. And if you like what you see, there is an opportunity to book a call with me to see if my program ADHD Mindset Mastery might be a fit for you. Now, number 5 is to give yourself the space to process the fact that you either have a formal diagnosis of ADHD or you just truly believe that you have it. Coming to terms with this can really be a mixed bag. There's a mourning period of where could I be right now had I only known that I have ADHD? How would relationships be different in my life had I only known that I have ADHD? What job opportunities and other opportunities have I maybe missed out on or not capitalized enough because of my ADHD? And it's okay to mourn. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel sad. You want to make sure that you don't suppress those feelings. But my disclaimer in that is that sitting in that for a really long time is not going to propel you forward. And this is where I go back to tip number 4, that if you are struggling to process an ADHD diagnosis, the help of an ADHD coach or counselor can help give you that perspective that you need to be able to pull yourself back from the situation, get that bird's eye view on your life so that you can start living in the present moment and moving yourself forward. Now, my last tip, tip number 6, is for absolutely everybody, but specifically for those ADHD people who maybe don't have the most support in their circle, in their family, in their friend group, and or at work. Find community. You know, before I got diagnosed with ADHD, I felt really alone. I was very aware that things were harder for me than they were for people in my life who did not have ADHD. I was very aware when I was impulsive and maybe I would interrupt people and then be called rude. I was very aware of being left out because I had this kind of too much energy that neurotypical people didn't appreciate. And I'm not bashing neurotypical people here. I mean, we all have our own brains and our own worldviews and our own life experiences. But having ADHD can feel really, really lonely before you know that you have it. So now that you do know you have ADHD, or you do believe that you have ADHD, self-diagnosis is absolutely valid, and don't let anyone tell you it's not. Find community, find Facebook groups, go on to the Meet app and see if there are any ADHD groups in your area. Look for people who have ADHD and learn from them and have their experiences help you validate yours if you are the type of person who tends to be harder on her or himself. I'm assuming some men are going to watch this video as well. And if you are a woman and you want community with validation, you are looking for an ADHD community that is a safe place to be yourself, to talk about the struggles as well as the wins that are going on in your life. Because let's face it, if you're the type of ADHD person who struggles to say do the dishes, and you get the dishes done and you tell a neurotypical person, they're going to say, okay, so what? Like, do the bare minimum. But ADHD people understand that these mundane tasks, these tasks that are dopamine sucking from our soul, are really hard to do. So community is so therapeutic, it's so cathartic, and it lifts your spirits, helps your self-esteem, and most importantly, at least for me, it helped me feel not so alone. And selfishly, I think that I became an ADHD coach because I was really looking for community to feel validated in. I happen to have a Facebook group linked as well in the description of this video that is for women. There's no cost to be a part of this group. It is a community of neurodivergent, specifically ADHD, some ADHD, autistic as well. There's a high percentage of people who are both ADHD and autistic. That Facebook group link is in the description of this video, and I will let you in within a 24-hour period. Community is huge as an ADHD person. It's so nice, and it's been amazing for me to feel not so alone as an ADHDer, especially because for the first 44 years of my life, I'm going to be 48 soon, I did not know what the heck was wrong with me. I just felt like an alien. And this community has made me feel very, very normal, because now I'm truly amongst my peers. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a video from me. I come out with videos every single week on everything ADHD and the isms that pair with having ADHD. Final reminder to check out the masterclass and the Facebook group link in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear your ADHD story in the comments, and I will see you next week in the next video.